Hello, here is the news at this hour from Tstv. I am Olaide Amosu. Here are some major headlines. SBN alleges Makinde wants to plunge Oyo into economic bankruptcy. An NDDC probe, Akpabio finally releases names of senators, reps who got the contracts. And on the foreign scene, India extends restrictions on domestic flights operation for 4 months. In the exciting world of sports, Everton mainstay LEIGHTON BAINES retires from football. Now the news in details. Oyo State chapter of the Socialist Party of Nigeria has faulted the decision of the Makinde-led Oyo State government to issue a 100 billion naira bond for infrastructural development. It was reported that the state government had approved a 100 billion naira bond for the execution of the 50-kilometer Iseyin-Ogbomoso Road, the Ibadan Circular Ring Road, and expansion of Ibadan Airport Road. However, the SBN, in a press statement made available to newsmen today, signed by its State Secretary, Ayodeji Adigun, described the move as a step towards plunging the state into an unavoidable economic bankruptcy and bondage. The Secretary also stated that the SBN is not enthused with the news of the 100 billion bond. We acknowledge the potential of this highlighted project to attract a huge economic development to the state, but obviously this should not be at the cost of plunging the state into an avoidable economic bankruptcy and bondage. He further said the huge debt burden has now been increased by over 140 billion naira by Engineer Seyi Makinde-led government in just 15 months in office, and that the recent debt burden of Oyo State hovers around 266 billion naira. Senator Teslim Folarin of Oyo Central Senatorial District has donated food items and cash gifts to some selected private school teachers and accident victims in Oyo Central Senatorial District. He also reiterated his commitment to inclusive and quality representation in order to improve the standard of living of his constituents. The federal lawmaker's special advice on media and publicity, Comrade YSO Olaniyi, said Folarin was reaching out to accident victims and selected private school teachers in Oyo Central Senatorial District who were neither relieved by governments nor paid salaries by their school managements during months of the lockdown occasioned by the COVID-19 pandemic. Folarin therefore called on philanthropic groups, public office holders, government at all levels, companies and philanthropists in Oyo State to support private school teachers who are badly hit by the economic hardships occasioned by the COVID-19 pandemic. The Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Godswill Akpabio, has finally named members of the National Assembly who allegedly got overbloated and unexecuted contracts from the NDDC. This is as the probe into the alleged corruption in the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC. It was reported that the House of Representatives asked Senator Godswill Akpabio to publish the names of their members he alleged took contracts from the NDDC, within 48 hours publishing the benefiting lawmakers, especially members of the 9th Assembly. In the letter, Akpabio listed Senator Peter Umwaboshi's name against 53 projects, Honorable Nicholas Mutu's name against 74 projects. Other lawmakers that Akpabio listed projects against are Senator Matthew Urogide with 6, James Manager 6, and Sam Anyanwu 19. The Parliament of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, has sworn in 8 new members at its second extraordinary session held online. The newly sworn-in members of Parliament are Honorable Khalifa Seydi from Guinea-Bissau, Honorable Prince Yomi Johnson from Liberia, and Honorable Waraye Sarr from Senegal, Honorable Ibrahim Yara, Honorable Amadou Dikile, Honorable Miriam Kanasi, Honorable Siaka Batuta Bagayoko, and Honorable Deminato Famba, all from Mali. Receiving the newly sworn-in MPs into the Parliament, Honorable Sidé Tunis, Speaker ECOWAS Parliament, admonished them to emulate the track records of the outgone members of whom they are replacing, and also challenged them to defend and represent the people of the community as well as the Community Parliament at all times. The ECOWAS Parliament, also known as the Community Parliament, is a forum for dialogue, consultation and consensus for representatives of the people of West Africa with the aim of promoting integration. Moving on to the foreign scene, Indian government has decided to extend existing restrictions on limited domestic flight operations and caps on airfares to November 24. Currently, domestic flight operations are allowed to function at 45% of their total capacity. It was reported that domestic flights of less than 40-minute duration are supposed to have lower and upper limits of 2,000 Indian rupees, that's around $28, and 6,000 Indian rupees, around $85. Flights of 150 to 180 minutes have 5,500 Indian rupees, that's around $78, and at 15,700 Indian rupees, around $224, as the lower and upper limits respectively. According to the ministry's directive, the airlines in the country should adhere to these upper and lower fares limits during the COVID-19 pandemic period. Thousands of Israelis protested on Saturday in Jerusalem and other cities, including Tel Aviv, demanding Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's resignation over his government's handling of the coronavirus pandemic. It was reported that in Jerusalem, they railed outside Netanyahu's residence, holding up signs accusing him of corruption, a reference to the Premier's indictment in January for bribery, fraud and breach of trust in 3 cases. While fed up with the corrupt, some signs read, alongside others reading, "Where are the morals? Where are the values?" Protesters also slammed a law passed this week that gives the government special powers to fight the spread of the virus until the end of 2021. Israel's unemployment is said to have jumped from 3.4% in February to 27% in April, before falling slightly in May to 23.5% in the name of the pandemic. Protesters are said to be frustrated with the impact virus curbs has on the economy, with the unemployed and reduced income families saying the government is not doing enough to help them. Moving on to the exciting world of sports, LEIGHTON BAINES has announced his retirement from football following the end of Everton's Premier League campaign. Former England international BAINES, who had been offered a 1-year contract extension by Everton, made his 420th and final appearance for the Toffees on Sunday. As Carlo Ancelotti's side went down 3-1 to Bournemouth, BAINES joined Everton from Wigan Athletic in 2007, going on to become one of the Premier League's most consistent fullbacks. The 35-year-old, who has made 9 appearances in all competitions this season, came on as a second-half substitute at Goodison Park. Vardy Jamie has won the Premier League Golden Boot for the first time in his career on Sunday, despite a poor end to the season for Leicester City that saw them miss out on the Champions League. England forward Vardy, who's 33, has become the oldest player to win the award for the league's top scorer after netting 23 goals, 1 more than Arsenal striker Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang and Southampton's Danny Ings. With Chelsea ensuring a top 4 finish with a 2-0 win over Wolverhampton Wanderers, Vardy drew a blank as the Foxes failed to gain the win against Manchester United that they needed to leapfrog Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's side into the top 4. And with that, we've come to the end of the news. A recap of the headlines. SBN alleges MAKINDE wants to plunge Oyo into economic bankruptcy. NDDC probe, Akpabio finally releases names of senators, reps who got the contracts. And on the foreign scene, India extends restrictions on domestic flight operation for 4 months. In the exciting world of sports, Everton mainstay LEIGHTON BAINES retires from football. Please do not forget to always adhere to COVID-19 safety measures. The news was compiled by Mobola Badikale. I am Olaide Amos. Good day and thank you for watching.